Good morning, Chief.
Yeah, you could have been in the UK, but I say you're in Ghana.
Charlie. How I wished I was honestly outside, especially during this challenging period in our nation's history. Before I proceed, let me say a very good morning to my chapter executives, to yourselves, the Gold Power team, Boache, Afriwa, Nancy, how do I call him, Mr. Matheson, and all the security guards, whosoever, the Pampas crew, Sami Hunto, Sabiga, and all the people who have made it very possible for gold to be gold, and
we are 25 years.
A very special, how do I call it, good morning to the gold support team as well. I think all the guys have been doing such a fantastic job. It's quite unfortunate that we do find ourselves in this situation, but we shall surmount, Sena. Yes, we shall surmount. It's quite tough. It's very, 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 very tough. Extremely tough. Some of us we are more or less, hanging our boots politically for now.
You are?
Oh yes. I mean,
why?
Sena,
because I know the kind of passion you share when it comes to the politics of, and also specifically when it comes to Ghana.
Yes, but I don't know. It appears maybe I don't understand the dynamics anymore. Maybe from where I'm coming from as an activist for the NDC, I'll say this: I am not in this business for any self-aggrandizement or for self-relevance or to amass wealth or to do anything. It's just so my nature that I love to serve. I want to more or less fine-tune the mindsets of our people to just contribute our quota to development. But unfortunately, when you look at what is going on, it appears, just as Bob Marley said, you can't fool all the people all the time. I mean, looking at how we fought the 2020 elections and the outcome, the inability of the NDC to really take a position on events, and the subsequent sellout by some of the MPs that some of us fought so hard to get elected. If you are in your right senses, and if you've got something to do with your time, if you've got something to do with the low resources that you work so hard to mobilize, I don't think you give credence to being an activist or even thinking of it that the NDC as it stands now, it's worthy to die for. I hope, and I'm only using the word I hope, in fact, and I only hope that the party will do a lot of introspection. Congress next year, they elect people who are not business politicians, people who has got the interest not just for the NDC at heart, but for the nation at heart. I mean, as I said, I'm a diasporian. I mean, see, Sena, I became more or less like a conduit, an arrowman, where I was trying and doing my best to release or disseminate information to most of my colleagues and comrades out there as to the happenings on the grounds, and I could tell you the level of dejection. I mean, your own Dr. Kwabname here, I mean, he's gone off almost all the platforms.
Yeah. Good morning to Dr. Ambrose.
Well, I think he's listening.
I'm sure.
Yeah, Chairman Akwa, I say good morning as well. It's that is why I'm saying that I'm hanging my boots for now. I might be called back from retirement, but then something would have to predicate that.
Well, Lons, don't you also think that being a human institution, of course, you should expect some of these things, because you will come in with the motive you walk in with will be different from the motive somebody else will walk in with.
So you want to tell me that I should go dining with the people who has put you in this situation?
You will not dine with them, but somebody else would.
Yeah, but I wouldn't. But that is the issue on the table. When you look at the passing of these three criminal ministers, I call them, those people in charge of the security system of our country. I would have expected Neil and Van der Poel to make a lot of noise when they came to, how do I call it, the vetting.
Yeah.
Because obviously he was, or a victim, he is a victim, or people from his constituency were victims.
Yeah.
He couldn't speak for them. Yeah. Chief, Eslausu went through vetting, except per my own checks and from my own reliable sources. Apart from Suhini, Honorable Suhini and Samuel Kujatu, who else stood out for this station? And you wouldn't expect me to easily come out and say, oh, because we are human institutions, we are going to have our differences and therefore I'll sweep it under the carpet. No, we shouldn't be forgiving. This is politics. We are a revolutionary party. People lost their lives for this cause. Else, the likes of the late General Kutu Champon and his colleagues could have been spared. So we have actually forgotten who we are, where we have come from, and where we intend to go. I'm not saying the MPP should be seen as enemies or we shouldn't have anything to do with them. No. We have to come to the table and say we have a course. There's an agenda. There should be a developmental agenda where we all could, pool the different resources, human resources, ideas, and everything to just get the country going. But as a political party on whose back or which could be used as a vehicle for this purpose, Chief, have we not endorsed the family and friends that we spoke of? Haven't we? Have we not? Have we not said okay to all the corruption scandals that we made so much noise of?
With the approval of this minister.
Yes, Chief. I hear was so wogon. It happened. Techiman South. It has never in the history of this country one election. Chief, 8 lives lost, including women and children. And you are telling me national interest and consensus? Or no, Sena, convince me. I want to be convinced. I honestly want to be convinced. The party couldn't whip, how do I call it, its legislators into place. Where was the 3 line? How on earth? I mean, there is a problem. I don't know if it's all about people wanting to work against the interest of JM, or I just don't know. It's not about the collective interest of the ordinary man who has suffered or who is suffering just because he believes that the color should be blue or green. So that is where I'm coming from. So now, see, some of us in the diaspora, I can tell you, I can tell you, from the women organizer to the youth organizer to all the branch executives. I mean, when you go to the diaspora, those in Sweden, America, I mean, Saturdays, per what I do, Saturdays are my days that I'm supposed to make money. I needed to throw all these things into the basket just for the sake of the NDC. We were all over the place, mobilizing resources, going on radio. We did everything for this great party of ours. And when it matters the most, you poke us in the eyes and you say I shouldn't hang my boots. No, I'm not. See, I will tell you this. Me, I have not even met John Mahama before. In fact, I have met him once. That was far back when he was an MP. I think somewhere in 2006. That is the only time I've met him. I've seen General Siedun Ketia once, all in my life. And I think that was when Honorable Horace Ni Aye Ankra was being elected as the UK chapter chairman. These are the only times I've seen these gentlemen. I am not connected to anybody politically, or let me say, put it bluntly, say these are my political godfathers. No.
You don't have that?
No, I don't have that. I don't have that, and I am not worried about it at all. My only interest in this business, as I indicated, is that from history, from where we are coming from as a people, I think I'm better off served as shifting to the left. You get it, or getting associated with the NDC, because that is where I believe that opportunities could be availed to people like ourselves. So if the very same people on whose back we could do these things are doing deals and selling us out, what do you want me to do? I can't. I'm surprised. It's so shameful. It's so unbearable at this time where you have the Supreme Court, those theatrics that went over there when they were doing 7-0, 9-0. I don't know if it were by coincidence that someone insisted that these ministerial approvals needed to be made on the 3rd of March, knowing very well that the Supreme Court verdict was going to be obviously another 7-0 or whatever nil it is. But our own people insisted that they needed to do that. What signal are you sending out there? Do you think Akufo-Addo's MPP could have done this? We all have we know their historical antecedents, and the NDC has been a disgrace. Honestly, I will urge them to maybe do their own introspection, because it is the only party in Ghana. When we lost in 2000, Ubeda Samuel and his team went around and came up with a whole lot of recommendations.
But you did that in 2016,
and they did that again. The Kwesibocho report. So I don't know who is going to lead this one. Maybe Alhaji Hudu Yaya or Alhaji Mahama Idrisu, or maybe they could come for you. I hope, yeah. Honestly, because I don't get it. I just don't get it. Some of the things that they did do not make sense, Sena. It's unfortunate that this is a party that some of us love so much. We've given everything we can, to make sure that the right things are done in the party, but it appears just maybe Congress, next year's Congress, could change some of these things. They need to elect people who has got the party at heart, people who will reason through with the ordinary man on the street. Now, the question I keep asking is, going into 2024, I'm not even going to go into the dynamics, but what are we going to tell the Ghanaian, the floating voter? What are we going to say to them? If we were unable to secure their vote, we were unable to give them that sort of assurance that we gave them. And don't forget, when this whole thing, boot for boot, started coming up, we were not going to accept any flawed elections and all the stuff. The question would have been, or is, what were the alternatives? Going to the flowered courts? Or just folding arms because apparently someone said the party spent 700,000 Ghana cedis to organize demonstrations, and people didn't show up. What were the alternatives? It appears we are not a serious political party. You follow Akufo-Addo and his gang to tell you that, put your vigilantes away. People who could stand in for you when the going gets tough. You followed through the process, and indeed you put them away. Whilst he kept some and pushed the others into the professional security systems that we have in this country. Are you a serious political party? You see, the NDC has got to find people to think for them, outside the box, outside the normal way of politicking. I had so much hope in some of the leaders that were elected in the 2018 Congress. In fact, I was there. I supported most of them, and they have been the one who has disappointed the most. So, Sena, if you allow me, I could spew out till daybreak. Trust me, I am hurt. I am not going to just sweep things under the carpet and say, okay, we still have to. No, we are not going to fight on. If you go to a battle and you see your commanders dining with the enemy and asking you, the foot soldier or the private or the gunner or whosoever, to do battle, if you are wise, you will not do it. This is why Sami Gyamfi spoke the minds of the ordinary men and women of this great party of ours, because it just did not make sense. The center didn't hold any longer when it matters the most. Jesus, how do you approve Hawa Yakubu?
Hawa Kumsin,
who terrorized our people? All over. I think there was a social media. There's a video which someone sent me from social media where he was insulting John Mahama with in fact it was almost like an altercation in one of the studios with I think that man will be an NDC guy. Serious invectives. Words which are so unprintable that I could not even say to someone I don't like. This woman said all these things about JM. These people should bow their heads down in shame. I feel so sorry for them. Fortunately, I have lost appetite listening, let alone looking at most of them, even on telly. I don't know how and what they are going to do to redeem that image that I find very irreparable. it's like they've gone down. And as I said, I wish there would be a new awakening in the party. Sena, 2024. I don't know what promises that Akufo-Addo has given those elements within our party, the assurances he's giving them for going for 2024. It's going to be a terrible situation. The MPP is not going to sit back and say, oh, this is the mantra. Every party does 8 years, and we've done 8 years, so we're going to soften our stance and let genuity happen. No. The EC will never be in your pocket. We knew how the judiciary has never been a friend to the NDC. The historical antecedents are there. It started far back from the murder of the 3 High Court judges. Before then, as to how Jerry Rawlings took power from the elites. All these things are there, and now we are dining and behaving as if we are equals. No one can draw the line. It just do not make sense. You elect a flag bearer who is so gentle, who is so nice, who is so polite, and do not even know how to deal with issues which affect the base of his party. Sena, this is it. It's hard time we call a spade a spade. No one is calling for war. But in the absence of war doesn't mean there is peace. You have 8 supporters of your party being shot by these criminals, and your MPs. Oh no, the NDC. Sena, I don't know. I'm becoming emotional. It just has not sat with me. Honestly, it just hasn't sat with me.
Okay, Lons.
Sometimes, no, wait. Just give me a sec. Sometimes I just sit back and say,
okay,
maybe there's a problem. I don't know. Sena, I know I'll have to go because maybe I'm treading dangerously.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. No, please. I think Lons is okay. This actually this decision of our MPs haven't helped anyway. But in the meantime, I wanted to take your views on this ECG matter, the blinking of the lights and everything.
Sena, I think. How do they say? They say it this way. I've forgotten the adage, but I wish I could have words to say what I have to say. It's terrible. It's super terrible. I mean, I thought the MPP under Bawumia and Akufo-Addo said they've how do I call it, solved doomsday,
yeah,
and that the elsewhere NDC under John Mahama signed so many energy contracts that we didn't need excess how do I call it, energy. But as Martinson was saying, it's all coming back to hit us in the face. It's almost like the chicken are coming home to roost, they say, right? It's terrifying. I mean, I've experienced it maybe for the past couple of weeks. Wherever I visit, wherever I go, no
matter where you move to.
Chief,
it is everywhere.
It is everywhere, and you ask yourself, is someone in charge? And it's obvious that it's about the finances. It's not about technicalities or anything. It's pure. We've been hearing this. In fact, before the elections, Gridco came out and said they owe the IPPs over $1 billion and a whole lot, and they were demanding money, and they had even given indication that this was going to be the case if they were not paid. So you ask yourself, what was the essence of the ESLA, the Energy Sector Levy Act? These were monies which were meant to be defraying the cost so that we will have a very stable situation. I mean, they accused the NDC of not doing what they needed to do to resolve the doomsday, though the NDC resolved the matter before they left power. So I don't know. We can only plead that the right things are done, because looking at what it is today, if people are to go through these things now, Sena, already Ghana, we are treading very, very dangerously. Things are not working. I don't even know what they call the economy anymore. I don't know if the Baumias and the rest will come out and tell us that the statistics indicate so well that everything is fine. But for this whole lights out system to come back, or issue to come back, so now we can only pray that the new energy minister and his team comes up with something.
Napo.
Yes.
Your faith is in Napo.
What else can I do?
Okay.
That is his name. They call him National Power Outage. So I can only hope, honestly, I can only hope that that's why I said the team, because that man or that guy, everywhere he has been a disaster. We all know what he did at the education. So I don't know how.
But he was somehow named the best minister.
Who named him? Is it people
were giving him awards?
No, is it people like you with conscience and who will speak truth to power and actually point out the realism on the ground, or by who? We all know how these things work. It's almost like when Akufo-Addo is invited by one unknown entity somewhere and be awarded, and they have their press carry it across, and you think people like me will believe it? No. Well, it's almost to say he's the best lawyer in the country.
Well, a couple of people have been